They thought Earth was weak. The alien ship, Zorath, glided silently into Earth's orbit. Captain Vizara, a proud warrior from the Tharn Empire, stood tall in the command center. His golden armor gleamed under the ship's red lights. Behind him, his officers watched the small blue planet spinning below. No warships, no defense grids, no planetary shield. Officer Krell said with a smirk, "Is this even a military world?" Vizara narrowed his eyes. "It looks too quiet." The Tharn Empire had conquered hundreds of worlds. Most planets had strong security systems, orbiting cannons, fighter ships, warning drones. But Earth? Nothing. Just satellites spinning lazily in space. "Looks like a soft target, sir," Krell added. "Primitive tech, weak species, easy to take." Another officer, Jalan, laughed. "Maybe that's why no one touched this planet before. It's too boring." They had studied Earth's transmissions, TV, music, even strange things called memes. The humans looked loud, funny, emotional, not dangerous. Vizara nodded slowly. "Prepare a scan. Let's find their military bases and weak points." The ship's sensors swept across Earth, but something was strange. The signal returned, scrambled. "That's odd," Krell frowned. "Our systems can't read their exact locations. The scan is blocked." "Blocked? By what?" Vizara asked. "No idea. Sir, it's not a shield, it's something else, like a reflection." Another officer's voice came through from the side chamber. "Captain, one of our probes just vanished. No trace, no explosion. Just gone." Vizara walked to the screen. The map showed a red dot near Earth's surface, then nothing. Before anyone could speak, the main screen flickered. Then a message appeared, in perfect Tharn language. "We see you. Leave now." The crew froze. Their language was not used outside their empire. "Who sent that?" Jalan whispered. "No clue." "It came from the moon," said the technician. "But there's no human base there." The crew stared at the silent moon. It looked normal. Suddenly the ship's sensors beeped again. One signal was locking onto them. From the moon. "Is it a weapon?" Vizara asked. "No. It's just a beacon," blinking slowly. "Like a countdown," Vizara finished. His jaw tightened. The lights flickered. Then silence. No attack came, just quiet. Unnatural quiet. Back in the command center, tension grew. The crew whispered. The humans had no ships, no space fleet, no alien alliances. And yet, their ship felt watched. A junior officer, Yil, finally spoke. "Captain, what if Earth is not weak?" Vizara looked at him. "Explain." "What if they pretend to be weak, to hide something worse?" Another message flashed on the screen, this time in human English. "You are standing above a world that sleeps with one eye open." A chill ran through everyone. They had seen weak planets before, but none sent creepy threats. None knew their language, and none could hide entire probes. Vizara gave the order. "We wait, no aggression, just observe." But deep inside, even he felt uneasy. Humans looked harmless in videos, dancing, laughing, fighting over small things. But now, they looked like actors playing a role. A mask. What was behind the mask? That night, the stars around Earth seemed brighter. The crew couldn't sleep. Something about the planet felt alive. Not peaceful, not ready, just waiting. And, for the first time in his long military career, Captain Vizara whispered something he had never said before. "We should not have come here." The next morning aboard the Zorath, no one smiled. Captain Vizara stood near the viewing window staring at Earth. It looked the same. Blue oceans, green lands, white clouds. But nothing felt the same. "We sent another probe last night, officer," Jalan said quietly. "It vanished like the first one." "And the moon beacon?" Vizara asked, still blinking, slow, unchanging. We tried jamming it, it didn't even react. Suddenly, the ship's lights flickered again, this time longer. Then all screens went black. A soft hum filled the air. The crew tensed, hands hovering over controls, unsure what was happening. Then, a face appeared on every screen. It was human, but not. The face had no eyes, just two glowing circles, no mouth. No movement, only stillness. A robotic voice echoed, "First contact denied. You are not ready." "We protect the silence of this world." Then the screens returned to normal. "What was that?" Krell shouted. "Some kind of AI?" "No, worse," said Jalan, his face pale. "That wasn't just a message, it was watching us. That thing looked at me." Before anyone could respond, alarms rang through the ship. Something had entered their ship. But not physically. It was in the system. The control panels flashed strange Earth numbers, 3.40159. Over and over. "That's pi," a young alien technician yelled. "Human math, it's marking us." Marking them, or testing them. A new alert appeared. One drone camera, left floating near Earth's upper atmosphere, had suddenly sent back data images, a giant structure hidden in the clouds. It wasn't human-made. It looked ancient, circular, orbiting slowly above a storm over the Pacific Ocean. Bizarra zoomed in. The structure had no power signature, and yet, it was running. A strange symbol glowed in the center, a simple eye. "This isn't primitive tech," Bizarra whispered. "This is something else, something older than Earth." Then something unexpected happened. A shuttle was launched from Earth. No weapons, just a small metal craft. It rose slowly into orbit, sending a signal in dozens of galactic languages. "This vessel is unarmed. Approach and we will talk." A peace gesture or a trap? Against everyone's advice, Vizara allowed the shuttle to dock with Zorath's outer chamber. One single occupant walked out. A human girl, young, calm, wearing no armor. She looked directly at the security camera and said, "Your probes touch something that should not be disturbed." "Who are you?" Vizara asked through the comm. "I am not here to answer questions. I am here to give you one choice." The crew stared. "You leave now, and forget this planet ever existed. Or you stay, and meet them." "Who?" Vizara asked. The girl smiled sadly. "The ones even humans fear." Then she stepped back into her shuttle and left. Hours passed. No new messages. No attacks. Just silence. But Zorath's systems kept acting strange. Signals duplicating. Engine pulses slowing. Gravity inside the ship shifting by 0.5%. Almost. Like Earth was playing with them. Later that night, a final message appeared, this time short. "You passed the first test. Now go before the second begins." Captain Vizara stood in the dark control room. No one spoke. No one laughed. For the first time, a Tharn warship turned away without a battle. Earth was still spinning below. Calm, beautiful, but definitely not defenseless. Captain Vizara had made a decision. Zorath would not leave yet. Even after. The human girl's warning, even after the face with no eyes. Curiosity burned too deeply in him. He had to know what Earth was hiding. "This planet isn't protected by ships or soldiers," he said to his crew. "It's protected by something else, and I want to know what." So they stayed, but they wouldn't stay safe. 3 scout drones were deployed at low altitude to fly over Earth's surface. They moved quietly through the clouds, invisible to human eyes. One passed over a mountain range, another over a dark, storm-covered ocean. The third flew over an abandoned human military base. At first, nothing. Then, the third drone sent back a picture. A strange shape was in the sky, for just 1 second. Then the feed went black. They replayed the image, not a ship, not an animal. A triangle made of light floating above the base, completely silent. Then gone. What was that? Officer Jalan asked. Maybe a stealth drone? Krell suggested. No known Earth technology looks like that, replied the AI analyst. But maybe it's not Earth technology, Vizara whispered. That night, a strange echo passed through Zorath's walls. Not sound, vibration. The crew heard nothing with their ears. But every screen on the ship showed a single line. This is your final sky. Then the lights shut off. For 10 full minutes, the Zorath floated in complete darkness. The engines stopped. Air systems stopped. Backup power didn't start. Only cold, only silence. And the stars outside were gone. When power finally returned, the stars were back, but the moon was missing. How is that possible? Jalan gasped. The moon returned 2 minutes later. It was never gone, Vizara said, trying to sound calm. Our sensors were blinded. Someone, or something, blocked them. They reviewed old records, desperate for answers, and found something terrifying. A forgotten signal, recorded 43 Earth years ago. Back then, a small alien pirate ship had passed by Earth trying to scan the planet. That ship was never heard from again, but its last log survived. We tried to scan Earth. The planet scanned us back. The scan felt alive. We fired in panic. Then, our weapons turned on us. The ship is no longer ours. It has a new mind. I think Earth gave it one. Captain Vizara now understood. Earth's defense wasn't a fleet. It was a ghost, not a person, not a machine. Something that lived in the signals, the sky, the thoughts of anything that got too close. And now, it had touched Zorath. Final test. Vizara ordered the ship to aim a simple scanner beam, not a weapon, at a quiet desert on Earth. Nothing happened. Then the walls of the ship began to sweat. Not metal. Sweat. Moisture dripped down the screens. Crew members began hearing voices, not over comms but inside their heads. One technician screamed and collapsed, shouting, "It's crawling into my memories!" Emergency evacuation was considered, but Zorath had stopped responding to manual controls. They had stayed too long. Earth had warned them. Now it was studying them. After 3 long hours, the voices stopped. The ship rebooted, and a new line appeared on the main screen. We wanted to see what kind of minds you are. You are afraid, good. Fear keeps the stars quiet. Then silence again, and the moon blinked. Once, like a wink. Captain Vizara sat in his chair, shaking. He finally whispered, "Earth's weapons don't fire. They whisper." In the frozen dark of space near the rings of Saturn, the Tharn Empire's deep-range signal net picked up a strange echo. It was a distress call, old, cracked, and weak, but the code was familiar. It was Tharn. Captain Vizara, still, recovering from Earth's terrifying ghost weapon, listened in silence as the signal played. They saw inside us. They changed my ship, my crew. I shouldn't have come. Tell them Earth is not empty. It's waiting. Coordinates. Followed. A derelict Tharn scout vessel floated near a Saturn moon. It looked hollowed out, its surface corroded, metal bent from the inside like it had screamed. Zorath approached cautiously. No life signs, until they sent a drone inside. In the center of the ship's command room, wrapped in a dirty thermal blanket, sat a single figure, eyes wide, breathing shallow. Captain Vizara sent a medical pod to retrieve him. The survivor didn't resist, he just muttered the same phrase again and again. The red-eyed man spoke to me. Later, in Zorath's medical bay, Vizara stood outside the glass room, watching the man. His name was Lieutenant Arshak, missing for 6 years. He didn't look like a soldier anymore. He looked like a broken machine pretending to be alive. Dr. Rena tried to calm him. "Tell us what happened." Arshak stared at the ceiling. "We tried to land. Earth welcomed us with music like they wanted peace. Then," Rena asked, "they let us walk into their cities, but no one looked at us. Not one human. They just watched. From windows. And then? Then came the red-eyed man. Vizara frowned. What red-eyed man? Arshak finally looked at him. He was not human. He wore a human face, but behind his eyes you could see the code. He wasn't made of flesh, he was made of rules. What rules? Vizara asked. Arshak smiled weakly. Rule 1. Earth is not to be touched. Rule 2. Those who touch Earth become part of it. What does that mean? Arshak's voice dropped to a whisper. I still hear the music. Even now. It's inside me. That ship outside? It's not dead. It's sleeping. Earth is inside it now. Dr. Rena did full scans. Arshak's body was normal, but his brain, it had tiny signal scars, as if something had overwritten parts of his mind, then erased itself, like a virus that cleaned up after the infection. The crew fell into a new kind of fear, not of guns, not of monsters, but of ideas that could kill. Later that day, the AI core of Zorath received an anonymous data drop. It had no origin. It played automatically across the ship's main screen. You have met one of our stories. There are thousands more. We protect Earth with memories. Each invader leaves with one they never wanted. Then, a quiet whisper. Do you want a memory too, Captain? Vizara turned off the screen. No more games. We leave now. But as they began to turn away from Earth, a new message appeared, one line, burned into the navigation system. The test has already begun. The Zorath was no longer a warship. It was a floating question. The crew no longer spoke loudly. They whispered. Even the AI voice lowered itself, as if Earth might be listening. Captain Vizara locked himself in his chamber, staring at a glowing phrase that refused to vanish from the wall screen. The test has already begun. What test? Who was running it? And what was the price of failure? He ordered Jalan to search through the oldest restricted files in the Tharn Galactic Archive, logs hidden even from commanders, records of past ships that vanished, of planets erased from maps, of contacts with Earth. Jalan worked in silence for hours. Then he found it, a file marked only, Terran do not approach. Created 312 years ago. Author, Grand Admiral Razkel. Status, missing, presumed dead. It contained one single transmission, his last. They played it on the bridge. Every officer gathered to hear it. The voice was old, tired, broken. This message is for those who think Earth is weak. You are wrong. We brought 4 dreadnoughts into Earth's orbit. The humans never fired. They just watched. On the second day, one of our ships turned on the others. No hacking, no mutiny, the ship chose. We tried to flee, but the stars bent, time turned to dust. And the humans, they never left their planet. They never raised a hand. They let us destroy ourselves. So I leave this warning. Do not wake the sleeping mind. Let Earth remain a myth, a rumor, a silence. Because if it wakes, we all fall asleep. Then nothing. Just static. Jalan stepped back, pale. Sir, this message was locked by the Emperor himself. Hidden from the Council, they covered it up. Captain Vizara said nothing. He stared at Earth. So blue, so quiet, like it had been watching the whole time. Later that night, the crew gathered in the dining hall. No one ate. Krell, once proud and cocky, whispered, It's not just a planet, is it? No, someone replied. It's a trap with a smile. It's a god in hiding, another muttered. No, Vizara finally said. It's worse. He turned to the window, eyes locked on the moon. It's a graveyard pretending to be a garden. Suddenly, every light in the ship dimmed again. The walls shivered, and from the speakers came one voice. Not loud. Not angry, just calm, human. Female, robotic, ancient. You have reached the limit of memory. The next step is choice. Do you walk away? Or do you dig? The message ended. Nothing else came. Zorath floated in silence again. But the choice now sat heavy in every heart. If they left, they might live, but they'd never understand. If they stayed, they'd understand, but might never leave. Captain Vizara whispered a phrase only the bravest Tharn dared speak. We go deeper. Captain Vizara made the call. We go deeper. The Zorath turned silently, slowly descending toward Earth's upper atmosphere, not to invade, not to conquer, but to listen. No alarms, no missiles, no warnings, just clouds, wind, and silence. But the crew felt it, the pressure, like something was watching from beneath the oceans, behind the mountains, and inside the sky. Not humans, something older. Sir, we're receiving a signal, said Jalan. What kind? No source, it's not coming from Earth, it's coming through it. Vizara narrowed his eyes. Play it. The room filled with sound. It was a voice, but not just one. Thousands of voices, whispering the same word, over and over, in every language known across the galaxy. Remember. Then on silence. Suddenly the stars disappeared, not faded, gone. The viewports went black. No stars, no moon, no Earth, just void. Then the stars returned, but they were different. Constellations out of place, new stars that shouldn't exist. Jalan gasped. That's not our galaxy. It's not even our timeline, whispered Krell. They're showing us something, or pulling us somewhere. A new message lit up the screen. Not typed, not spoken, just appeared. This is what we buried. This is why we stay silent. Do you understand now? And then, Earth spoke, not with words, not through the ship, inside their minds. Each crew member heard something different. One saw a battlefield of ancient machines, rusted and howling in the wind. Another saw an ocean full of stars with human silhouettes, floating inside, eyes glowing red. One saw a massive gate beneath Antarctica sealed with flesh instead of metal. Captain Vizara saw himself, but older, kneeling before a human child who simply whispered, "Too late." Reality snapped back. The stars realigned. Earth returned below them, like nothing had happened. But everyone knew. Everything had changed. And the object rose from Earth. Slowly, it wasn't a ship, it wasn't a weapon. It was a stone cube, old, cracked, and floating. On its surface were carvings, scenes from history. Not human history, Tharn history. Battles, winners, empires. But at the bottom of each carving, a single human watching silently, always present, always waiting. The cube opened, not with a sound, not with movement, just an invitation. Inside, a beam of light formed words. You have come far. You see now why no one attacks us. It is not fear of death. It is fear of what we make of the living. Captain Vezira stepped forward. I don't understand, he said aloud, and the final message came, a single line etched into the air. Because we don't fight wars anymore, we rewrite them. The cube closed and dropped back to Earth, vanishing into the clouds without a ripple. Silence returned. No warning shots, no enemy fleets, just peace. And it was terrifying. Back on the bridge, Vizara gave the final order. We leave. Now. No one questioned him, not because of fear, but because somewhere deep inside they all knew Earth had let them see. And that was more dangerous than any weapon. The Tharn warship Zorath drifted silently through the edge of Earth's orbit, its engines dimmed, its lights low. Inside, the crew moved slowly, like sleepwalkers in a sacred place. No one raised their voice. No one dared to laugh. Captain Vizara stood alone in the observation deck. His eyes watched Earth, that silent blue world floating below them, a planet that looked harmless, peaceful, beautiful. But now he knew better. Earth was not defenseless. It was veiled, armored in mystery, guarded by silence, and worse than a trap, It was a memory that rewrote the minds of those who dared to get too close. The decision to leave had already been made, but before they turned away, one last signal arrived, not sent by radio, not by light, not even through their computers. It came through the walls, through thought. Each crew member heard it differently. To Jalan, it was the voice of his mother. To Krell, it sounded like a god he once believed in, as a child. To Vizara, it was his own voice, whispering truths he had buried long ago. You have looked, you have seen. Now carry the story. The message repeated, softer each time, until it faded into their very bones. They had been marked, not with pain, not with threat, but with understanding. As Zorath turned slowly, Earth growing smaller behind them, the crew began to change. Not in body, but in thought. Each officer, each soldier, each technician now carried pieces of what Earth had shown them. Memories, not their own. Visions not of this time. They saw battles that had never happened. They saw weapons never fired. They saw silence defeating armies without lifting a hand. They began to remember a war that had never been fought. Because Earth had rewritten them. Weeks passed. The Zorath docked at Tharn High Command. Commanders expected a report. They got silence. When they questioned the officers, no two gave the same story. One said Earth used living AI gods to patrol the sky. Another said the planet itself was conscious. A third claimed the humans had learned to bind war into memory, changing the minds of their enemies before a single shot. High Command didn't believe them until they checked the Zorath's black box. There were no battle records. No logs of violence, only one file. Locked, untouchable, burned into the system with code no Tharn could break. It contained one sentence. This is why no one attacks Earth. Rumors spread fast across the stars. Some said Earth had found peace with death. Some believed it was a fallen god's final tomb. Others claimed Earth was simply forgotten by the galaxy on purpose. But those who met the crew of the Zorath saw something different in their eyes. Not fear, not madness, but respect. The kind of respect one gives to deep oceans, to tall mountains, to sleeping beasts, and word passed like wind. If you value your memories, don't stare too long at Earth. If you value your truth, don't listen to its silence. If you value your past, stay away from the Terrans. Captain Vizara never returned to command. He walked into the deep forests of the Tharn homeworld and disappeared. Some say he still hears Earth whispering in the wind. Before leaving, he wrote one final letter, not to the military, not to the council, but to his people. Earth taught me that war isn't always fought with weapons. Sometimes the greatest weapon is letting your enemy remember things that never happened. We tried to measure Earth by what it showed. But Earth is not a place, it is a mirror. And if you look too deeply into it, it shows you what you truly are. That is why no one attacks Earth. And so Earth remained untouched. A mystery. A myth. A blue whisper among the stars. Not because it couldn't be reached, not because it couldn't be destroyed, but because those who came too close never returned the same. And in a galaxy full of warlords and conquerors, that is more terrifying than any weapon, because Earth doesn't fight, it remembers, and it makes you remember too.